and welcome to episode 22 of Soft Signal. My name is Varun. I'm joined by my co host Aditya. And if this is your first time watching us, we are an Indian cricket podcast to talk about the highs and lows of Indian cricket every week. And if this is not your first time, thanks again for tuning in and hope you enjoyed this episode. So, in our last episode, we covered the low of the trouncing, whatever you want to call it, of Headingley, where we went in with so many expectations but ended up losing the third test by an innings. But as Kohli said in his press conference, tomorrow is a new day. And so we are also following our leader's guidance and looking forward to better things, hopefully, with the fourth test, which starts on Thursday at the Oval. So, what are your initial? Are you completely broken or still looking forward to the fourth test?
No, I'm definitely looking forward to it because now this series is has become extremely interesting once again.
Yeah.
We thought that if India had won the third test, it would have been 2-0, and that would have put India in a very strong position. We also said if England wins the third test, then the fourth and fifth test become really important, and that's exactly what happened. So I think a lot to look forward to at the Oval in on Thursday, because everything to play for, for these teams. Remember, the team that wins here at the Oval cannot lose the series. So,
Correct.
so a lot to play for, and a lot of changes potentially for India. Maybe a few forced changes for England, but we'll cover that.
Yeah, exactly. This is the exact situation the 2014 series was in. And we all know how the last two test matches played there. So let's hope we don't. I don't think we'll capitulate. This was a bad one-off test, as we said in our last episode. So looking forward to the fourth test as well. And like you said, there are some changes that might happen, some forced, some not. Let's start with England first. So big news, it kind of expected, but Joss Butler is missing the rest of the series because uh, he's expecting a second child. So he had already said that he was going to probably miss part of the series and maybe even later during the Ashes. But Butler is out, which means Bairstow will probably keep, and they might bring in either Dan Lawrence or Ollie Pope if Ollie Pope is fit. And then there was some talk I read that Anderson might be rested, and then they might bring in Saqib Mahmood. So what do you, I mean, it's good news for India if Anderson is rested. I don't know if they'll do that because they have. I know he's 39, but their bowling attack is still pretty inexperienced. They need some kind of leader.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, I don't think they'll rest Anderson that easily. I mean, especially not when the series is so tantalizingly poised. As we said in the introduction, this is an important test match because the team that wins this cannot lose the series. So I think the only reason that Anderson won't play is if he's injured. I don't see him being dropped just for rest. Butler, like you said, expected, because he had mentioned it before. Um, Normally, I would have said that's a big loss for England, but Butler's form in this series
Yeah.
has not been up to scratch. So really, him missing out the rest of the series is okay. I think doesn't change much for India. Uh, uh, of course, it means that Ollie Pope or Dan Lawrence will come in. I think Dan Lawrence will, because he started the series. So normally would give a player an extended run. So
Yeah.
maybe Dan Lawrence will slot in at number six, and then Besto takes the gloves. So I think. I think England. It's weird how quickly things change, right? Because at the end of the second Test match, we were like, England has a lot of problems. India doesn't have as many. At the end of the third Test match, suddenly it seems that England has no more problems.
Yeah.
But of course, a lot of that is because of the top three, the contribution of the top three. So I think England have that box ticked for the rest of the series. I think the move to bring in David Malan worked at number three, and Hasib Ahmed and Rory Burns worked at the top of the order as well. Let's see. Maybe in the next Test match, if India bat first and don't get out for 78, you might see the openers of England under a bit more pressure, and then we get to know more. But uh, but yeah, for sure, going into the fourth Test, fewer problems for England.
Yeah, and actually that's what I was gonna just say, because I know they batted well, but it's very easy to, or not very easy. It's much easier to bat when the team has got only 78 and it's a batting pitch and it's a sunny day. I still think England have some passengers in their team. Hamid played really well. Burns, I don't know. Maybe this is the start to getting back in form, but there's still some frailties in the England batting lineup. They're still pretty much a two-man team of Root and Anderson. So let's see. But yeah, they'll. It's also just how perceptions change right after the result, as you said. It seems like now they're on top of the world and India has all the problems. So let's go to India's problems. So many decisions to make, right? I don't know where to start. We touched upon a couple in the last episode of Shardul coming in. The Jadeja is probably injured. He's gone for a knee scan, so he might miss the test. And if he does, then I think Ashwin has to play because there's no other spinner. And Ashwin actually took 6 for 27 at the Oval, where the match has been played in a county game when he played for Surrey. So there's a lot of pressure, I think, to include Ashwin with or without Jadeja. So let's tackle this in two ways. If Jadeja is fit, do you think Ashwin should play at all? Because I think if Jadeja is not fit, Ashwin will play anyway. So
Exactly. That's a tough one. Does Ashwin play if Jadeja is fit? It depends on the forecast for those 5 days at the Oval. Um, I think the Oval is not the biggest spinning wicket in England. I think that is Southampton. Um, so um, I'm not sure about this one. To be honest with you, I'm not sure about this one. Um, but what I'm sure about is that Shardul Thakur needs to play.
he's a
So,
trump card, I think.
so I think if India go in with two spinners, that is Jadeja at 7 and Ashwin at 8, then I think they will not play Shardul Thakur, which still seems okay for me.
Yeah.
But if they go in again with this same combination of Jadeja and four number 11s, that does not work. Um, so I don't think I've answered your question. I have
No, it's
probably
a
just
tough one because
I
yeah,
think I've deflected it a bit, but I think I think Shardul Thakur needs to play at number four. Sorry, not at number four. Okay,
maybe he'll be better at number
not,
four.
not that high, but Shardul Thakur needs to bat at number 8. If Jadeja is fit, I'm still okay with not having Ashwin. Let's put it this way. Um, but uh, but yeah, it depends on the overhead conditions. The forecast for those few days, if it's going to be bright and sunny, uh, or relatively bright and relatively sunny, as it usually is in England, for all 5 days, only then is there a case for Ashwin to play.
Yeah.
If that's not the case, if that does not happen, then Shardul Thakur needs to come in at number 8, and Ishan Sharma sits out for me.
Yeah, another line of thought that I was reading is that England have a lot of left-handers. They have Malan, Burns, Moeen. So there was a talk that Ashwin would be better against. He does bowl better against left-handers. So that is another thing for them to consider. But I don't know. They're thinking on all of those lines yet.
Well, what would you think if they dropped Jadeja, brought
Yeah.
Ashwin, and played Shardul Thakur?
Yeah, I
So
think that's
essentially,
what
Ashwin at 7, Shardul Thakur at 8.
they have to have. Like I agree. The number 8 batsman has to be someone who can hold a bat.
Yeah.
So uh, they will drop Ishant Sharma because he's actually not even bowled too well this series. So it's a question of who they bring in for him, whether they bring in Shardul or Ashwin. There was talk of bringing in Umesh, which like that's even worse. I don't think he can hold a bat either. like Kohli did say that they might rest one of the fast bowlers. So they might rest Bumrah. And bring in Umesh in place of him, which is okay. But yeah, the big question is who among Shardul or Ashwin plays at 8 uh, once they replace Ishant. And then if Jadeja is not fit, that actually breaks.
Yeah,
Then they'll have to play both Shardul and Ashwin.
yeah. If Jadeja is not fit, I think then that just solves everything.
Yeah,
uh,
so
it solves the debate. But I don't think India want an unfit Jadeja because
yeah,
he's still a better batsman than both Ashwin and Shardul, which means that he's ideally suited for number 7.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, but yes, our batting cannot end at number 7, and that's all I'll say.
yeah. And Kohli has said he's not going to go ahead with the sixth batter, so a batsman. So I don't think there's any room for 6-1-4 combination. It's still going to be 5. But what do you think of this idea of making Jadeja bat at 6 and Pant at 7? Because actually, honestly, Jadeja has looked like a better batsman than Pant this series. He's looked more composed. And it you said right that Jadeja's had to bat with a tail. So if he comes in at 6, maybe he'll have some more time, and it could work just to shore up the batting lineup a bit. So you don't keeper at 7 is always more traditional way of going about things, right?
Yeah, that's true, but I don't see it making a difference simply because uh, you're right. Jadeja has he scored more than Pant, but he scored more than Pant batting at number 7. Sometimes when you move batsmen up the order because of what they've done down the order, they seem to end up batting differently, and that affects their run scoring capabilities. So I wouldn't necessarily change the position of Jadeja. I think I would still have him at number 7. I think the pressure though is on Pant to still come good. I think Pant is India's number 6. He needs to come good as a number 6.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't tinker around with the position. I would just put the pressure on Pant and hope that he delivers at number 6 and let Jadeja do his thing at 7.
Yeah, fair enough. And especially if Jadeja is not fit, then you can't have Ashwin at 6. I know that's been done before, but no thanks. I think
But
we're good.
that's been done when Ashwin was a much better batsman
Yeah, when he had
four,
scored
5 years ago.
in West Indies, I think it happened. It happened in South Africa also. I think I remember this happening in
So
the last tour.
I
Yeah,
think so. Yeah, for one test match, he did bat at 6. I remember him batting at 6 in some test matches in India as well.
yeah,
But this was during the phase when Ashwin was a much better batsman than he
yeah,
is today, and then his batting just tapered away.
yeah. And
So
yeah, anyway,
yeah, but
okay.
Shardul needs to play.
Shardul needs to be there. That's the title of our episode.
Yes.
But let's get to the question which we all don't want to answer because we've covered this millions of times. But
Yes.
are Pujara and Rahane, are Pujara or Rahane, one of them going to be dropped, and who's going to replace them? I think they will not drop either of them. I think Rahane should be dropped, but I don't think they'll drop him. But interested to hear what you think.
Yeah. So before the third test match, and I might sound a bit of a hypocrite for saying this, but before the third test match, I said don't drop Rahane. I'd much rather drop Pujara. But I'm going to change my stance and go the other way. I'm going to say keep Pujara, drop Rahane, but I'll put a caveat in there. The reason I'm saying this is because I saw the way Pujara batted in the second innings of the last Test match. I think he was a lot more positive. He looked to have some kind of intent at the crease, and he was scoring pretty quickly
Yeah,
for any Test match batsman. Strike rate was around 50. So if that Pujara into my team, I'm happy to keep him. Uh,
a
so
big if, right?
it's a big if, but the fact is that he can do it. Like he's shown he could do it. So only
Yeah,
on the basis of that, uh, I think he can be continued with. Rahane, on the other hand, I'm not really convinced with what I've seen. We said it during the review as well that there seems to be this inevitability that he is just going to get out at any time. So you don't want your number five to have that sort of aura around him, right? He's number
Yeah,
five. He needs to be scoring some really crucial runs. So I think India need to look beyond Rahane for this for this Test match. And it's not like we don't have the batsmen, right? We've got Hanuman Vihari. Um, we have Surya Kumar Yadav as well, but I won't
yeah, it's
necessarily go there as yet. I think Vihari deserves a chance. Vihari seems to be a batsman who just plays when the combination is six batsmen, right? So I think Vihari deserves a chance. At number five,
yeah,
uh, I mean, I'm not sure Vihari is going to come in and score a century, right, and completely solve these issues. No, he's probably not going to do that. But you cannot simply not do anything about a situation when it keeps on happening again and again. So they need to do something, they need to try something, and I think Bihari needs to be given a chance in this test match,
yeah.
in this round.
Exactly. You see Kohli's press conference yesterday. He was so defensive about these questions. He was like, "We don't pay attention to any noise. We all know what they can do, but for how long?" And I'm hoping this is just a case of him being putting up a wall with the journalists, but internally, hopefully, they're considering some changes. Like even they could even play Agarwal as an opener, put Rahul down at five, but then Dawood has played decently as an opener this series, so maybe they don't want to spoil that combination. So the more likely one is either Bihari or Sky replacing Rahane. I mean, if they even go down that route.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the more likely one. Uh, you spoke about Mayank Agarwal. To be honest, I'm not. I think that could also be a consideration, honestly, because he batted at number six in Australia in one of the Test matches. He didn't get a lot of runs, but he did bat there at that position. So he could be in the mix, but for me, I think Bihari deserves a chance above all of them because he's batted in that position whenever he's got a chance.
Yeah,
He's done okayish. I mean, he's not been prolific or anything, but who knows? This might be the chance. As I said, they need to do something about the situation and not just ignore it.
yeah. I'm just looking at Surya Kumar's stats because I just googled his name just now, and Venk Sarkar has said we should play him. Where is this all this like support for him come from suddenly? Like averages 39 in first class cricket, so it's not bad, but it's not like he's a phenom. He's not like 21 years old. He's a 30-year-old guy who's been around for a while, not done anything too great. I don't know where all this support is coming from.
I think it's just coming from domestic performances, but in white ball. And it's just recency bias, isn't it? It's just his last year
Yes.
has been good. People tend to forget that Bihari's been in this team for a long time now, and it's just unfair. I mean, imagine if Sky has come into this series. He comes in without any sort of but without any strong performances in red ball, even domestically, and gets a place above before Bihari, who has been with this team for many years now. So what would that do to Bihari's morale? I mean,
Yeah.
so Vihari deserves a chance. I hope because this is similar to what happened to Karun Nair, right?
Yeah. Another. There should be a movie made about it. I'm sure in 10 years someone will make a movie.
Yes. So Vihari needs to be given a chance,
Yeah.
and I think that chance needs to come in the next Test match, in the fourth Test match.
Yeah. Vihari, the last innings he played for India, he uh, put his career on the line. He was batting with a hamstring injury with
Yeah,
Ashwin for more than 30 overs. Like,
exactly.
I mean, there should be some kind of reward, and I'm not saying you have to play him just because he did that, but yeah, like you said, he's been in the setup for 3, 4 years now. You can't just promote some guy who's not played, who's not that great a red ball player. So yeah, hopefully they go ahead with Vihari if they uh, replace Rahane. How are you feeling about the test? Do you think? I think this we might not necessarily win, but I'm hopeful of a more of a better performance.
Uh, well, this is a tough one because now the momentum is with England, and I've never played competitive cricket, so I don't know how whether the this theory about momentum really affects players or not. But a lot of people talk about it doing so. So at least for that purpose, for that argument, the momentum seems to be on England's side. So India will need to play extra hard to come back. I still think India is the better team, though. With
Yeah.
Shardul Thakur in the 11, let me be very specific
If
about
we had
that.
11 Shardul Thakurs, we would
We
be
would have,
world champions.
yeah, we would. We don't even then need to travel anywhere or
Yeah.
play. We're just be winning by default. So with Shardul Thakur in the 11, I think India is a better team than England. Uh, so I still don't see any reason why we cannot win this test match. If we go in with the correct combination, we should be able to win this test match again because our bowlers are good. They're good enough to take wickets. And there are a lot of ifs. I think one thing that needs to happen though for India is Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul need to give us a good start. Um, I think what's happening of late, we saw that in the last test match, KL got out early, Rohit was stonewalling in the first
Yeah.
innings, and then he got a 50 in the second innings. I think we need a strong opening partnership where both of them dig in, give us a decent enough foundation. I think this needs to happen. So if that happens, and if Shardul Thakur plays, I still think we can win the test match.
Yeah, think so. I'm not losing hope yet, and I just spoke. I think Shardul will be sending over the check soon to us for all that we've said about him. Completely joking. I hope this doesn't go onto some kind of news website or something. But yeah, let's hope for the best. It's on Thursday, so yeah, we'll hopefully the weather stays good for 5 days, and we have a really good test match because the series is really well poised. So it will be a shame if there's any weather interruptions.
Yeah, exactly. I hope there's not too much interruption due to weather. There could be. It's England, so there could be. I
Yeah,
just hope we don't lose like days to weather. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As I said, this is an important test match. The team that wins this does not lose the series, cannot lose the series. So really huge test match. The series is tantalizingly poised. Um, and again, when you think of it, if India get the 11 correct, they should still win it.
yeah. So let's hope for better things. But we'll be back, I think, sometime next week after the fourth test to hopefully review an Indian victory. But come rain or shine, we will still be here. So we'll see you then. But thanks for tuning into this episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you saw.
Yes, and hopefully everyone enjoys the fourth test match. Should be a cracker.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.